Welcome to the Daily Social Distancing Show. It's really good to have you.
It's good to be here. Like I was saying, I'm surprised we haven't done this before, but I'm glad to be here now. Looking forward to it.
Well, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I've loved enjoying all of your work. Some of it again during this period. You know, you've released a book called Green Lights, and it feels like it's a memoir, but in some parts it feels like it's not a self-help book, but it's like a book of life lessons, if I can call it that. Talk me through a little bit about like why you chose to write the book now, and why you decided to release so many snippets that you've written about your life from, I think, what, the age of 14 is all your journaling?
Yeah. Yeah, I started keeping journals 36 years ago. You know, like most people, went to the diary when I was in times of loss or confusion. You know, so and so broke up with me. My heart hurt. Why? I got pimples on my face and all this stuff. And then, you know, in the early 20s, started to find a little groove in life, found my frequency a little bit, was doing good in school, had a job, was social relationships were successful. I was catching proverbial green lights. And I remember telling myself at that time, hey, make sure you're still writing in that damn diary now while things are going good, because when you get in a rut again, you might want to be able to look back and see what your habits were. And that actually proved to be true. So maybe it was coming across 50 years old. And I started off 3 years ago with the Ghostwriter. That person fell off the project, which was the greatest blessing. That's when I said, okay, you got to go do it. That's when my wife said, get out of here, go see what you got. And, you know, it's a bit intimidating. I'm not a nostalgic guy. I don't really like looking back. So I thought I was going to be embarrassed and shamed about a lot of stuff. And there was some stuff I was embarrassed and shamed about. But most of the embarrassments I laughed at. Most of the shame I forgave myself for. And it ended up being the best time I've ever had with myself and my past.
I think there may have been moments of embarrassment. There were so many things where I went like, oh yeah, I've lived through that. One of the stories I related to more than any, I mean, it did not because of the ending, was just having the acne that was to the point where it was going to scar your face. It's just a journey of how your mom was selling oil of mink, and you tried to use it to get rid of your acne, which then meant that you had like one of the biggest breakouts that you've ever had. But tell us a little bit of that story.
So Mom starts selling this oil of mink door to door, right? And it says their one-liners, if you apply this to your face, it'll bring out all the impurities. But after the impurities are gone, you're going to have wonderful glowing skin for the rest of your life. Well, I'm 15. I got a few pimples. Say, what about this? My mom's like, you should use the oil of mink. So I start putting it on religiously every single night. Well, what happened? You start to get more pimples. 3 weeks in, keep putting it on. Now it's full-blown acne. My whole face and head swollen. I'm scared. Well, I stopped to a dermatologist. And he goes, what are you putting on your face? I show him the oil of mink. He says, no, that's for people like over 35, not you going through puberty where your pores are already secreting oil. They're all blocked. You're 2 weeks away from having ice pick holes in your cheeks. We got to get off this and get you on this stuff called Accutane, which will clear it up. I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, around this time, my dad gets the bright idea of like, you know what, son? I mean, that oil of mink your mom put on you, it doesn't have a disclaimer saying kids shouldn't wear it. You got all these pimples. I mean, we're going to sue them. Let's get $50,000 out of this thing. So he goes to the lawyer, and I take it with him. And I remember this lawyer sitting over there going like, oh, geez, yeah, you look like shit, Matthew. You don't even look like yourself. I mean, geez, the physical part's bad, but you must have had a lot of emotional distress. And I saw his eyes kind of raised, like going, right? And I'm like, yes, emotional distress. And then he looks at my dad and he goes, we can make 35 grand on emotional distress off this easy, right? So bro, here we go. As you know, depositions and law cases take a while. A year and a half later, I'm back now with the deposition for the defense. All right. The Accutane has worked. I've cleared up. And I'm sitting across the table from the prosecutor. And he goes, gosh, dog, look at you. Look at these pictures of you back then. I mean, you didn't even look like yourself. You must have been so emotionally distressful. And I'm like, this guy's just handing me a softball. I'm like, yes. And he's like, must have not been. How'd it go with the girls? And I go, no, horrible. I mean, confidence dropped. I lost all the girls didn't want to hang. I was like, oh, God, it must have been so bad. Just scarred you for life, huh? And I'm like, yes, sir. And I'm going, this is a poor prosecution, man. And all of a sudden he reaches under the table and he pulls out this yearbook, but a page was marked on it. And he puts it on the table in front of me, slides it over and opens it up and points to it and said, who's that? And it was a picture of me from that year, a year after the acne,
Right.
It was me and Camisa Springs. On her sash, it said most beautiful. On my sash, it said most handsome. And just I saw that, I knew in my mind. And he goes, yeah, so emotionally distressful, hadn't it been? And I went, damn it, we lost the case. And sure enough, that blew the case. And then my dad went on for months going, gosh, damn it, son, we could have made $50,000. Then you got to run off and win most handsome. What the hell?
You blew the case, but I feel like, that was, in my opinion, like just one of the jumping off points for the life of Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, people go like sexiest man alive and good looking guy, but it's also like down to earth, having crazy experiences. And that's what this book really, really feels like to me. When you look at all the stories that you're sharing in the book and the title Green Lights, what do you think you're trying to share with us as the reader?
That when I look back at my last 50 years, I noticed a lot of red and yellow lights. I've had my crises. My father died. I had a year abroad where I was completely lost and losing my mind. I noticed that there were times, sometimes in the moment of the crisis, sometimes soon after, sometimes years after, that I saw there was a lesson to be learned from that red and yellow light time of my life. A lot of times it was the way I looked at the situation. I call the sort of the tool that I've used is when faced with the inevitable, how do you get relative with the situation? Once you know it's inevitable, do you endure? Do you keep enduring? Do you pivot, or do you wave the white flag and go, I'm moving on? All three of those are means to getting to a green light. I've found that most everything has turned into a green light or revealed its green light assets. Every red and yellow light has revealed assets. For instance, if we look at COVID times right now, major red light in our life, I truly believe that this will reveal green light assets in our future. I know personally for me, as much as an awkward and tragic year as it's been, I've gotten closer with my mother. She's gotten closer with her grandkids. I'm spending more family time. I'm with the damn dog longer. I'm reading more. I'm trying to find the assets in it, right? And that's not denying. Green lights is not a delusionally optimistic thing of like, no, just see the glass half full. No, bullshit. It's not kumbaya. It's like, once it's inevitable, how can I see the assets and double down on them without denying the crisis? And that's when I talk about even humor in this thing. Humor does not deny a crisis.
Right.
It just opens up to say, well, now let's talk about it. Hit a little bit easier. It can reveal the truth more. So that's the thing that I notice is sometimes, it's we can engineer green lights in our life. There are choices we make that can give us delayed gratification tomorrow. Sometimes we're just fortunate and they land in our lap, and it's what do we do with them? And we can. The other thing that I get from this book is creating green lights for ourselves is not exclusive of creating green lights for others at the same time.
I love that. You know what really struck me in the book is how you share these stories from your point of view. And what I love is how authentic it is. People knew you as this really successful actor, especially in the world of rom-coms. You were the king of rom-coms. You wanted to do more. And it seems strange to say, but it's like this was your challenge. How do you give up everything that you've worked for to try and get something that you really believe you want for yourself? And talking about that through the Dallas Buyers Club and like how hard it was to make that movie was quite a challenge. Why do you think you were willing to risk it all to get to the place that you thought you needed to be at?
It was at a time when it was sort of what I was doing was sort of grating against my soul. I think I say it in the book. I was not sleeping well, and it had nothing to do with the mattress. I was enjoying my life. I was quite grateful for my life. I loved the work I did. I enjoyed the rom-coms, but at that time, Camilla and I just had our first son. So you have your first son. I mean, life is as big and vital as I had more rage, more love, more joy, laughed harder, cried harder. The ceiling and basement of emotions of how much I was feeling life, the vitality of life was immense. Well, in romantic comedies, the ceiling and basement of emotions are very compressed by design. So I was saying, can my work challenge my life's vitality? Can my work challenge the character I am in my life? Well, it wasn't at the time. So the work that I wanted to do that might challenge my life's vitality, they weren't offering. So I decided if I can't do what I want to do, I'm going to stop doing what I've been doing. And then 20 months go by. Now I'm gone. I've forgotten about it. I've considered other careers. Oh, guess who just now became a new good idea for some meaty, dramatic roles out there? Matthew McConaughey. Why? Because he's been gone. Where the hell's he been? He's unbranded. I don't know where he is. He hadn't been in my face in a rom-com. I haven't seen him shirtless on a beach. I don't know where the hell he is. Since I don't know where he is, he's now maybe a new good idea. And that's what happened. So I held out, and it was a good penance, good sabbatical.
Well, I'll tell you this. I thought you were amazing before I read the book. Now I'm a bona fide fan. Thank you for the time. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your life. And yeah, I hope for more green lights in your journey. And I'm excited for the audiobook. I hope everyone reads the book, but to hear you reading those stories, because I had to fake it. I had to sit there by myself and be like, well, I was born and this is what I did. And I try to do my best Matthew McConaughey, but I want to hear your voice. So I'm excited for the audiobook. So thank you so much for joining us on the show.
You are welcome. It's a pleasure to be here, Trevor. Appreciate it.